I'm Ethan Rohr, 42. For 2 decades, I lived a lie, convinced my marriage to Marta was a rock-solid, transparent sanctuary. It shattered on a rain-swept Tuesday night. Marta, flustered after an urgent client dinner, tossed her phone onto the kitchen counter. That single, careless act, its screen blinking with a forgotten notification, changed everything. Did I suspect? Never. But the screen lit up, a text from Jake, not a client. Then, can't wait for Thursday. And chillingly, a hotel name I recognized, but never from our anniversaries. In less than 3 minutes, my 20-year reality dissolved. Upstairs, the shower hummed, her favorite vanilla scent oblivious to the silent war that had just begun. Before we get into this, please take a moment to like and subscribe. But only if this story truly resonates with you. And drop your location and local time in the comments. I want to know where you are right now. They say real men drink their champagne from crystal flutes, not plastic cups. They also say real men don't spy on their wives through bathroom keyholes or check phone records at 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, here I am, Ethan Rohr, 42 years old, finance director at Brennan & Associates, sitting in my leather recliner with a glass of Dom Perignon and my wife's phone bills spread across my lap like evidence at a crime scene. So much for being a real man. The thing about betrayal is that it doesn't announce itself with trumpets and fanfare. It creeps in through the cracks like water damage in your basement walls. You don't notice it until the whole foundation starts to rot. Marta's been working late again. 3rd time this week, 4th time last week. Her excuse tonight was client presentations and budget reviews. Funny thing about budget reviews, they don't usually require Victoria's Secret lingerie and that perfume she only wears for special occasions. The perfume I bought her for our anniversary 2 years ago, the one that cost more than my monthly car payment. I take another sip of champagne and stare at the phone bill. 47 calls to the same number in the past month. Jake Turnbull. I know that name because I've heard Marta mention him. Her subordinate at the agency. Young, ambitious, probably has abs you could grate cheese on. The kind of guy who drinks protein shakes and calls everyone buddy. The front door clicks open. Marta's heels echo against the hardwood floor of our entryway. That distinctive tap 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 that used to make my heart skip. Now it just makes my jaw clench. Ethan, she calls out. You still up in here? I reply, quickly, shoving the phone bills under a magazine. How was the presentation? She appears in the doorway, and I have to admit, she still looks stunning. Auburn hair pulled back in that professional bun that somehow manages to be both severe and attractive. Her gray business suit fits her perfectly, accentuating curves that haven't changed much since we met in college 21 years ago. But there's something different about her face. A glow, a satisfaction that has nothing to do with closing deals or impressing clients. Exhausting, she says, kicking off her heels, but productive. We landed the Morrison account. That's great, honey. Congratulations. She walks over and kisses my forehead. I catch that perfume again mixed with something else. Something masculine, cologne maybe, or aftershave. You're drinking the good stuff, she observes, nodding at my champagne flute. Felt like celebrating. Celebrating what? I look up at her, studying her face. Those green eyes that used to look at me with genuine affection now seem to be calculating something, measuring distances, planning escapes. Us. I say our marriage. 20 years of wedded bliss. Something flickers across her expression. Guilt maybe or annoyance. That's sweet, she says, but her voice sounds flat. Rehearsed. I'm going to take a shower. Don't wait up. She disappears upstairs and I hear the bathroom door close. Then the shower starts running. I pull out the phone bills again and stare at Jake Turnbull's number. 47 calls, some of them lasting over an hour. What does a finance director's wife have to discuss with a junior account executive for over an hour? My phone buzzes. A text message from my best friend, Vic, who works security at the casino downtown. Beer tomorrow. Usual place. I type back. Need it. Wife troubles. Say no more. 7 p.m. Mickey's Vic understands. He's been divorced twice, both times, because he caught his wives cheating. He likes to joke that he has a sixth sense for adultery, like a bloodhound for betrayal. Maybe I should have introduced him to Marta years ago. Could have saved myself some time. The shower stops running upstairs. I finish my champagne and head to the kitchen to rinse the glass. On the counter, Marta's purse sits open, and I can see her phone peeking out of the side pocket. The temptation is overwhelming. I glance toward the stairs. No movement. No sound except the hair dryer starting up in the bathroom. I reach for the phone. It's password protected. But I know Marta. She uses the same password for everything. Our anniversary date, 0815. I type it in and the screen unlocks. 43 unread messages. Most of them from Jake. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Last night was incredible. Tell Ethan you're working late again. LOL. My hands start shaking. The phone nearly slips from my fingers. I scroll up reading older messages and each one feels like a knife twisting in my chest. You're so much more exciting than he is. When are you going to leave him? I love the way you taste. That last one makes me want to throw the phone against the wall. Instead, I take screenshots, evidence, because if there's one thing my job has taught me, it's that you always need documentation. The hair dryer stops. I quickly close the messages, put the phone back in her purse, and pretend to be loading the dishwasher. Marta comes downstairs wearing her silk pajamas, the ones I bought her for Christmas. Her hair is damp and she smells like vanilla body wash. She looks beautiful and innocent like the woman I married. But now I know it's all an act. You okay? She asks. You look pale. Just tired. Long day at the office. She nods and kisses my cheek. I'm going to bed. Don't stay up too late. I won't. She heads upstairs and I hear our bedroom door close. I stand in the kitchen for a long time, staring at nothing, trying to process what I've just learned. My wife is cheating on me with her subordinate, a kid young enough to be our son. I pour myself another glass of champagne and sit back down in my recliner. The screenshots are still on my phone, glowing like radioactive evidence. I could confront her right now, storm upstairs, throw the phone in her face, demand explanations. But that's what an emotional man would do. A weak man. Real men plan. Real men get even. I open my laptop and start researching Jake Turnbull. Social media profiles, employment history, address. If Marta wants to play games, I'll show her what a real game looks like. The champagne tastes bitter now, but I keep drinking it anyway. By the time I finish the bottle, I have a complete dossier on Jake Turnbull and the beginnings of a plan that will make my wife regret the day she decided to betray me. Outside, thunder rumbles in the distance. A storm is coming. Mickey's Tavern hasn't changed since 1987, and that's exactly why I love it. Dark wood paneling, neon beer signs, and a jukebox that still plays actual vinyl records. It's the kind of place where working men come to drink working men's beer and complain about working men's problems. Tonight, it's where I'm going to tell my best friend that my marriage is over. Vic is already at our usual table when I arrive, nursing a Budweiser and scrolling through his phone. At 43, he looks like a cop, even though he quit the force 5 years ago. Thick shoulders, graying hair, cut military short, and eyes that notice everything. He looks up when I sit down. You look like hell, he says. Feel worse than I look. The waitress comes over. Betty, who's been working here since the Clinton administration. She doesn't ask what I want, just brings me a beer and a shot of whiskey. Thanks, Betty. She nods and walks away. Vic leans forward. So, what's going on? And don't tell me it's work stress. I know that look. I take a sip of beer, then down the whiskey shot. Marta's cheating. Vic doesn't look surprised. How do you know? I pull out my phone and show him the screenshots. He reads them without expression, occasionally nodding. When he's finished, he hands the phone back. Jake Turnbull. Sounds like a porn star name. He's 28 years old, Vic. Our daughter Amelia is older than him. No, she's not. Amelia's 20. Close enough. The point is, my wife is screwing around with some kid who probably still gets carded at restaurants. Vic signals Betty for another round. What are you going to do about it? I don't know. Part of me wants to drive over to his apartment right now and beat the hell out of him. Bad idea. You're not built for prison, Ethan. You'd last about 15 minutes before some lifer made you his girlfriend. Thanks for the confidence boost. I'm just being realistic. Besides, violence is the nuclear option. You want to hurt them where it really counts. Their reputations, their careers, their social standing, make them paras, make them wish they'd never met each other. Betty brings our drinks. I stare into my beer, watching the foam settle. 20 years, Vic, 20 years of marriage. And she throws it away for some pretty boy who probably doesn't even know how to balance a checkbook. Did you ever suspect anything before this? Looking back, yeah, she's been different for months. Distant, critical. Last week, she told me I needed to step up my game if I wanted to keep her interested. Said real men don't let their wives get bored. Real men, Vic repeats, what does that even mean? According to Marta, it means being spontaneous and exciting and dangerous. Everything I'm not. You want to show her dangerous? Let's show her dangerous. I look at him. What do you have in mind? Vic grins, and for a moment I can see the cop he used to be. The one who caught cheating spouses and lying criminals for a living. First, we gather more evidence. Photos, videos, witnesses. Build a case so airtight that she can't deny it or twist it around. Then what? Then we destroy them methodically, professionally, like a controlled demolition. I like the sound of that. How? Leave that to me. I still have contacts from my police days. People who owe me favors. People who know how to find things out. We spend the next hour planning. Vic knows a private investigator who specializes in adultery cases. He also knows someone who can track cell phones and another someone who can access social media accounts. By the time we leave Mickey's, I have a team of professionals working for me. The next morning, I wake up hungover and angry. Marta is already gone. Another early meeting at the office. I make coffee and check my email. There's a message from the private investigator, a woman named Sarah Chen. Mr. Rohr, I've located the subject's vehicle and confirmed his address. Beginning surveillance today. We'll have preliminary report by tomorrow evening. I forward the email to Vic and head to work. Brennan and Associates occupies 3 floors of a downtown office building, and my office is on the 32nd floor with a view of the lake. Normally, I love coming to work. Numbers make sense. Budgets are logical. Financial statements don't lie or cheat or betray you. But today, I can't concentrate. I keep thinking about those text messages, imagining Marta and Jake together, wondering how long this has been going on. Around noon, my assistant Jennifer knocks on my door. Your wife called, she says. She wanted to remind you about dinner with her sister tonight. I'd completely forgotten. Victoria, Marta's older sister, is coming over for dinner. Victoria, who gossips like a professional sport and knows everyone's business in our social circle. Victoria, who's been divorced 3 times and seems to enjoy watching other people's marriages fall apart. Thanks, Jennifer. Anything else? Mr. Brennan wants to see you at 2 o'clock. Something about the Morrison account. The Morrison account? The one Marta supposedly landed last night while she was actually screwing Jake Turnbull. At 2 o'clock, I knock on Mr. Brennan's door. He's 65 years old, built like a linebacker, and has been running this company since before I was born. He doesn't believe in small talk. Ethan, sit down. We need to discuss the Morrison account. What about it? There is no Morrison account. I called Morrison Industries this morning to congratulate them on choosing us and they had no idea what I was talking about. They're not looking for a new agency. My stomach drops. I don't understand. Neither do I. Your wife told several people at her agency that she landed a major new client last night, but it's not true. So, either she's lying about her professional accomplishments or she's lying about where she was last night. I stare at him trying to process this information. Marta didn't just cheat on me. She lied about it to cover her tracks and now she's been caught in that lie. I thought you should know. Brennan continues. Marta and I have worked together on several joint projects over the years. I respect her professionally, but this concerns me. Thank you for telling me. Is everything all right at home, Ethan? You've seemed distracted lately. Everything's fine. I lie. Just some personal issues I'm working through. He nods. Take care of yourself. And if you need some time off, let me know. I spend the rest of the day in a fog. By the time I get home, Victoria's car is already in the driveway. I can hear laughter coming from the kitchen. Marta and her sister probably sharing gossip and drinking wine. I walk in to find them sitting at the kitchen island, each with a glass of Chardonnay. Victoria looks exactly like Marta, except 10 years older and with blonde highlights that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Ethan. Victoria jumps up and hugs me. How's my favorite brother-in-law? I'm your only brother-in-law, Victoria. Details. She waves her hand dismissively. Marta was just telling me about her new client. Very impressive. I look at Marta, who's suddenly very interested in her wine glass. Yes, I say slowly. Very impressive indeed. We sit down for dinner, take out Chinese food because Marta didn't have time to cook. Victoria dominates the conversation, talking about her latest boyfriend, her yoga instructor, and some scandal involving her neighbor's wife. Speaking of scandals, Victoria says, did you hear about the Hendersons? No. Marta says, what happened? Carol caught David cheating with his secretary. Apparently, she hired a private investigator and got photos of them at some hotel. The divorce is going to be brutal. Marta shifts uncomfortably in her chair. That's terrible. I don't know, Victoria continues. I think Carol's better off without him. David was always kind of boring anyway. No excitement, no passion. Some women need more than that, you know. She looks directly at me when she says this, and I realize that Victoria knows about the affair. She might even be encouraging it. What do you think, Ethan? Victoria asks. Do you think some people are just naturally incompatible even after years of marriage? I think I say carefully that some people don't know what they have until they lose it. Marta looks up at me and for a moment our eyes meet. There's something in her expression. Guilt maybe or fear, but then Victoria starts talking again and the moment passes. After dinner, Victoria leaves and Marta goes upstairs to take another shower. I clean up the dishes and check my phone. There's a text from Sarah Chen, the private investigator. Got them. Hotel downtown. Photos attached. Call me tomorrow. I open the attachments. There are 6 photos, all taken through a hotel room window with a telephoto lens. Marta and Jake together doing exactly what I expected them to be doing. The images are clear and undeniable. I save the photos to a secure folder on my phone and pour myself a glass of champagne. The same Dom Perignon I was drinking last night when I still had hoped that I might be wrong about my wife. Now I know the truth and tomorrow I'm going to start making them pay for it. Sarah Chen meets me at a coffee shop downtown, the kind of place where freelance writers pretend to work on novels and unemployed actors discuss their projects. She's younger than I expected, maybe 35, with short black hair and the kind of intense focus that comes from years of watching people's worst moments through camera lenses. "Your wife is predictable," she says, sliding a manila envelope across the table. "Same hotel, same room every Tuesday and Thursday for the past 6 weeks. They're not even trying to be discreet." I open the envelope. More photos, detailed surveillance reports, credit card receipts, a complete record of my wife's betrayal documented with professional precision. "The interesting thing," Sarah continues, "is that Jake Turnbull is engaged." "What?" "Engaged to a woman named Lisa Martinez. Weddings planned for next month. Big church ceremony, expensive reception. She has no idea about the affair." I stare at the photos, feeling something cold and hard settling in my chest. "So, he's cheating on his fiancée with my wife. And your wife knows about the fiancé." I have photos of them looking at wedding magazines together. Marta was helping him pick out centerpieces. The audacity of it takes my breath away. My wife isn't just cheating. She's helping her lover plan his wedding to another woman. The humiliation cuts deeper than I thought possible. "What do you want to do with this information?" Sarah asks. "I want to destroy them." She nods approvingly. "I was hoping you'd say that." That evening, I'm sitting in my recliner with a glass of champagne when Marta comes home from another late meeting. She's glowing again. That post-intimacy satisfaction that she hasn't shown me in months. "Good day at the office," I ask. "Very productive." "How was your day?" "Enlightening." She kicks off her heels and stretches. "I'm exhausted. Think I'll take a bath and go to bed early." "Before you do that, I have something to show you." I pull out my phone and open the photo gallery. The first image is Marta and Jake entering the hotel. I turn the screen toward her. Her face goes white. "Ethan, I can explain." "Can you?" "Because I have about 30 more photos just like this one, plus credit card receipts, hotel records, and witness statements." "So, please explain away." She sits down heavily on the couch, her hands shaking. "It's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think. You're cheating on me with Jake Turnbull. You've been lying about working late. You made up the Morrison account to cover your tracks. And you're helping him plan his wedding to another woman." The last part hits her like a slap. She looks up at me with something approaching panic. "How do you know about Lisa?" "I know everything, Marta. The question is, what are you going to do about it?" She starts crying then. Big dramatic tears that might have worked on me a week ago. Now they just make me angry. "I'm sorry," she sobs. "I never meant for this to happen. It just did. Things don't just happen, Marta. You made choices. You chose to betray our marriage. You chose to lie to me every day for months. You chose to help your lover plan his wedding to another woman while you were sleeping with him. It's not like that. Then what is it like? Explain it to me. Make me understand how 20 years of marriage means so little to you that you throw it away for some kid who's using you for intimacy while he plans to marry someone else." She doesn't have an answer for that. She just sits there crying, probably hoping I'll comfort her like I always do, but those days are over. "I want a divorce," I say. "No, please. We can work through this. I'll end it with Jake. I'll do whatever you want. You'll end it with Jake because he's getting married next month. Not because you want to save our marriage. You're not sorry you cheated, Marta. You're sorry you got caught." I stand up and head for the stairs. "Where are you going?" She calls after me to pack your bags. You can stay at Victoria's tonight. Tomorrow you can find somewhere else to live. You can't throw me out of my own house. I turn around and look at her. This house is in my name. I paid the down payment with money I inherited from my father. You have no legal claim to it. But don't worry, I'm sure Jake will let you stay at his place. Oh, wait. He lives with his fiancée. I go upstairs and pack a suitcase with her clothes. When I come back down, she's still sitting on the couch staring at nothing. Here, I say, setting the suitcase by the door. I'll have the rest of your things shipped to wherever you end up. Ethan, please. I love you. No, you don't. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this. If you loved me, you would have talked to me about whatever was missing in our marriage instead of sneaking around behind my back. She stands up and walks toward me trying to touch my face. I step back. Don't. I made a mistake. You made dozens of mistakes. Every text message, every hotel visit, every lie you told me was a separate decision to betray our marriage. This wasn't one mistake, Marta. This was a pattern of deliberate deception. I open the front door and wait for her to leave. She picks up her suitcase and walks past me, then turns around one more time. What about the kids? What are you going to tell Amelia and Ross? I'm going to tell them the truth. That their mother is a cheater and a liar and that's why our marriage is over. She flinches like I've hit her. That's cruel. You want to know what's cruel? Cruel is finding out your wife has been laughing about you with her lover. Cruel is discovering that while I was planning our anniversary dinner, you were planning your next hotel rendezvous. Cruel is learning that you helped the man you're cheating with pick out wedding decorations for his marriage to another woman. I close the door before she can respond. Through the window, I watch her put the suitcase in her car and drive away. 20 years of marriage ended in less than an hour. I pour myself another glass of champagne and call Vic. It's done, I tell him. She's gone. How do you feel? Like I just cut out a tumor. Good. Now the real work begins. What do you mean? Kicking her out was just the opening move. Ethan, if you really want to make them pay, you need to think bigger. You need to destroy their reputations, their careers, their social standing. You need to make sure everyone knows what they did. I walk to the window and look out at the street. Somewhere out there, Marta is probably calling Jake, telling him about our confrontation, asking him what they should do next. They probably think the worst is over. They have no idea what's coming. What do you have in mind? I ask Vic, leave that to me. But first, I need you to do something. I need you to make a list of everyone who matters to them. Coworkers, friends, family members, social contacts, everyone whose opinion they care about. That's a long list. Good. The longer the better. By the time we're finished with them, they'll be paras. No one will want to associate with them. They'll be toxic. I spend the next hour making the list. Marta's colleagues at the advertising agency, our mutual friends from the country club, the wives from her book club, Jake's coworkers, his fiancée's family, his college friends. By the time I'm finished, I have over 50 names. I send the list to Vic and pour myself one final glass of champagne. Tomorrow, the real revenge begins. The first domino falls on a Wednesday morning. I'm having coffee and reading the newspaper when my phone rings. It's Jennifer, my assistant. Mr. Rohr, I just got a call from someone at Marta's agency. Apparently, there's some kind of situation over there. What kind of situation? I'm not sure. The woman sounded upset. She said something about photos and asked if you were available for a meeting today. I smile into my coffee cup. Tell them I'll be there at 10 o'clock. Vic's plan is working perfectly. Yesterday, he sent copies of Sarah Chen's photos to every employee at Marta's advertising agency along with a note explaining that the images were taken during work hours while Marta was supposedly meeting with clients. He also sent copies to Jake's fiancée, Lisa Martinez, with a different note expressing concern for her well-being and suggesting she might want to know what her future husband does in his spare time. At 10 o'clock sharp, I walk into the offices of Sterling and Associates where Marta has worked for 8 years. The receptionist looks uncomfortable when she sees me. "Mr. Rohr, Mr. Sterling is waiting for you in his office." Richard Sterling is a tall, thin man with silver hair and the kind of expensive suit that costs more than most people's monthly salary. He's built his AY's reputation on discretion and professionalism, two qualities that don't mesh well with employee intimate scandals. "Ethan," he says, standing up when I enter. "Thank you for coming. Please sit down." His office overlooks the lake with floor-to-ceiling windows and modern furniture that scream success. On his desk, I can see a manila envelope that I recognize. "I assume you know why you're here," he says. "I have a pretty good idea." He opens the envelope and spreads out several of Sarah's photographs. "These were delivered to every employee in the building yesterday morning. They show your wife and one of our junior executives in what appears to be a compromising situation. More than compromising, I'd say." "Yes." "Well," he clears his throat. "This is extremely embarrassing for the agency. We pride ourselves on maintaining professional standards. I'm sure you do. The thing is, Ethan, we've had complaints about Marta's behavior for several months now. Extended lunch breaks, unexplained absences, declining work quality. We were already considering putting her on probation. And now we have no choice but to terminate her employment effective immediately." I nod sympathetically. "I understand. You have a business to protect. We also had to let Jake Turnbull go. This kind of conduct is unacceptable, especially between a supervisor and a subordinate. It opens us up to potential lawsuits." "Very wise." Sterling leans back in his chair. "I have to ask, did you send these photos?" "I didn't send them, no. But I'm not sorry they were sent. My wife destroyed our marriage for that man. I think her colleagues have a right to know what kind of person they're working with. I can understand your anger, but this puts us in a very difficult position. Marta was working on several major accounts. Her sudden departure is going to cause problems with our clients. Maybe she should have thought about that before she decided to use work hours for her personal entertainment." Sterling nods grimly. "Indeed. Well, I wanted to speak with you personally because Marta listed you as her emergency contact. She's been trying to reach you apparently. I'm not taking her calls. She seemed quite distressed when she left this morning. She kept saying something about her reputation being ruined. Her reputation ruined itself. I just documented it." I stand up to leave and Sterling walks me to the door. "For what it's worth, Ethan, I'm sorry about your marriage. Marta was a talented employee before all this happened. She was a talented wife, too." Past tense. I drive home feeling better than I have in weeks. Marta and Jake are both unemployed now, their professional reputations in tatters. But I'm not finished yet. That afternoon, Vic calls with an update. "Lisa Martinez called off the wedding," he says. Apparently, she threw Jake's ring at him in front of half the restaurant where they were supposed to have their rehearsal dinner. The whole thing was caught on someone's cell phone and posted on social media. Good. It gets better. Jake's parents drove down from Milwaukee to confront him about embarrassing the family. His father actually slapped him in the hotel lobby. Also caught on video. What about Marta? She's staying at Victoria's, but that's not going well either. Victoria's landlord doesn't allow long-term guests, and the neighbors are complaining about the screaming matches they've been having. Screaming matches about what? Apparently, Victoria thinks Marta was stupid to throw away a good marriage for a younger man who was obviously using her. Victoria's exact words were, "You're 41 years old, not 21. Act like it." I laugh out loud. Even Marta's own sister is turning against her. There's more. Vic continues. Remember that country club you and Marta belong to? What about it? The membership committee received copies of the photos along with a detailed letter about how adultery violates the club's moral standards clause. They're meeting tomorrow night to discuss revoking Marta's membership. How did you manage that? I have friends everywhere, Ethan. The important thing is that by the end of the week, Marta and Jake will be persona non grata in every social circle that matters to them. That evening, I'm cooking dinner when my daughter Amelia calls. She's a junior at Northwestern studying journalism, and she has her mother's intelligence combined with my sense of justice. Dad, I just heard about you and Mom. Are you okay? I'm fine, sweetheart. How did you find out? Mom called me crying. She said you threw her out of the house and got her fired from her job. That's not exactly what happened. I didn't think so. Mom's version of events never includes her own mistakes. What really happened? I give Amelia the abbreviated version, leaving out the most graphic details. She listens without interrupting, and when I'm finished, she's quiet for a long moment. I'm sorry, Dad. I know you loved her. I did love her. That's what makes this so hard. Are you going to be okay living alone in that big house? I think so. It's actually kind of peaceful without all the drama. What about Mom? Where is she going to live? That's her problem now, honey. She made her choices. Ross is pretty upset about the whole thing. He blames you for not trying harder to work things out. Ross is my 22-year-old son, fresh out of college and still naive about the world. He's always been closer to his mother. Probably because she never expected him to be responsible for anything. Ross can blame me all he wants, I say. When he's older, he'll understand. I understand now, Dad. What Mom did was wrong. She humiliated you and embarrassed our family. I'm not going to pretend otherwise just to keep the peace. Thank you, sweetheart. That means a lot to me. After we hang up, I pour myself a glass of champagne and sit on the back deck, looking out at the garden Marta and I planted together 5 years ago. The roses are blooming and the evening air smells like jasmine and fresh cut grass. It's beautiful and peaceful, and for the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe. My phone buzzes with a text message from an unknown number. This is Jake. We need to talk. What you're doing is destroying innocent people. I type back. The only innocent people here are your ex-fiancé and me. You and Marta destroyed yourselves. I loved her. We didn't mean for this to happen. You loved her so much. You were planning to marry someone else. Very touching. Please stop this. We get it. You're angry, but enough is enough. I stare at the message for a long moment, then type my response. I'm just getting started. 3 weeks later, I'm standing in the ballroom of the Palmer House Hotel wearing my best tuxedo and holding a glass of champagne that probably costs more than Jake Turnbull makes in a day if he had a job, which he doesn't. Tonight is the annual Chicago Advertising Award ceremony and I'm here as Marta's guest. Technically, the invitation arrived at my house yesterday addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Ethan Rohr for the Sterling and Associates table. Someone in their administrative department obviously didn't get the memo about Marta's termination. When I called to RSVP, they assumed I was coming alone due to illness or scheduling conflicts. I didn't correct them. The ballroom is filled with Chicago's advertising elite, all dressed in expensive formal wear and pretending to care about creative excellence while really networking and gossiping. I spot Richard Sterling across the room talking to a group of potential clients. He looks relaxed and confident, probably relieved that the Marta situation has blown over without affecting his business. That's about to change. Ethan. I turn around and see Margaret Hoffman, the wife of Sterling's biggest client. She's wearing a gold dress that probably costs more than my car and enough jewelry to fund a small country. Margaret, how lovely to see you. Where's Marta tonight? I was hoping to congratulate her on the Morrison account. I smile. I'm afraid Marty won't be joining us this evening. She's dealing with some personal issues. Oh dear. I hope everything's all right. Actually, Margaret, I'm glad I ran into you. There's something you should know about the Morrison account. For the next 10 minutes, I explained to Margaret Hoffman exactly what happened with the fictional Morrison account, Marta's affair with Jake Turnbull, and the lies that were told to cover it up. Margaret listens with the fascination of someone hearing particularly juicy gossip, which is exactly what this is. How shocking, she says when I'm finished. I had no idea Marta was capable of such behavior. Neither did I after 20 years of marriage. And this Jake person was her subordinate. Yes. And engaged to another woman at the time. Margaret shakes her head in disgust. The moral standards in this industry have really declined. I'll have to mention this to my husband. We can't have our advertising budget going to agencies that employ people with such questionable ethics. She walks away and I know that within an hour everyone in the ballroom will know the full story. Margaret Hoffman is the queen of Chicago advertising gossip and nothing spreads faster than a scandal involving intimacy and lies. I'm making my way to the bar when I see them. Marta and Jake standing near the entrance looking around nervously. She's wearing a black cocktail dress that I've never seen before. And he's in a rental tuxedo that doesn't fit properly. They look like crashers at an exclusive party, which is essentially what they are. Marta sees me first. Her face goes pale and she grabs Jake's arm, whispering something urgent in his ear. He looks in my direction and even from across the room, I can see the anger in his expression. They start walking toward me, pushing through the crowd with determination. Several people notice them and begin whispering among themselves. The gossip is already spreading. Ethan, Marta says when they reach me. We need to talk. Hello, Marta. Jake enjoying the party. You know why we're here? Jake says his face is flushed and I can smell alcohol on his breath. You've destroyed our lives. I've documented your choices. There's a difference. You got us fired. Marta hisses. We can't find work anywhere in the city. No one will hire us. That's unfortunate. Maybe you should have considered the consequences before you decided to betray your respective commitments. This has gone far enough, Jake says, stepping closer to me. We get it. You're angry, but you're ruining innocent people's lives. Innocent people. I laugh. Jake, you were cheating on your fiancée with a married woman. Marta was lying to her husband and her employer. Which part of that sounds innocent to you? We fell in love, Marta says desperately. People fall in love. It happens. People fall in love all the time without destroying their families and careers. They get divorced first or they end their engagements or they have honest conversations with their spouses. They don't sneak around for months lying to everyone who trusts them. The conversation is getting louder and people are starting to stare. I can see Richard Sterling making his way through the crowd toward us, looking panicked. You want to make a scene? I continue. Fine. Let's make a scene. I raise my voice so that everyone nearby can hear me clearly. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet my wife, Marta, and her lover, Jake Turnbull. They're the ones who created the fictional Morrison account to cover up their affair. They used company time and resources to conduct their personal relationship, then lied about it to their employers and families. The crowd around us has grown larger, and I can see people taking out their phones to record the confrontation. Marta helped Jake plan his wedding to another woman while she was sleeping with him. I continue. Jake told his fiancée he was working late while he was actually in hotel rooms with my wife. They're both unemployed now because they couldn't keep their personal lives separate from their professional responsibilities. Stop it. Marta pleads. Please, Ethan. You're humiliating us. You humiliated yourselves. I'm just making sure everyone knows about it. Jake lunges at me, but he's drunk and unsteady. I step aside easily and he stumbles into a waiter carrying a tray of champagne glasses. The glasses crash to the floor and champagne splashes across several people's formal wear. Security guards appear immediately, grabbing Jake by both arms and restraining him. "That's enough," one of them says. "Sir, you need to leave. This is all his fault." Jake shouts, pointing at me. "He's been stalking us, harassing us, destroying our reputations." "By telling the truth about your behavior," I reply calmly. "Everything I've said tonight is documented fact." Richard Sterling finally reaches us, looking mortified. "What's going on here?" he demands. "Just sharing some information about former employees," I say. "I thought your clients might be interested to know about the kind of people who were handling their accounts." Sterling turns to the security guards. "Please escort Mr. Turnbull and Ms. Roar out of the building. They're not welcome here." As the guards lead them away, Marta looks back at me one last time. There are tears in her eyes, but I feel nothing. No sympathy, no regret, no satisfaction, just emptiness. The crowd begins to disperse, buzzing with conversation about what they've just witnessed. Margaret Hoffman catches my eye from across the room and nods approvingly. By tomorrow morning, everyone in Chicago's advertising community will know the full story. I finish my champagne and head for the exit. In the lobby, I can see Marta and Jake arguing near the valet stand. She's crying and he's gesturing angrily. Their relationship built on deception and betrayal is finally falling apart under the pressure of public scrutiny. Outside, it's starting to rain. I give my ticket to the valet and wait for my car, listening to the thunder rolling in from the lake. The storm I've been brewing for weeks is finally here, and it's washing away everything Marta and Jake built on lies. My phone buzzes with a text from Vic. "Saw the video on social media. Well done." I type back, "It's over. How do you feel?" I think about that as the valet brings my car around. How do I feel? Not victorious exactly. Not happy, but not sad either. Just finished. Free. I type back. I drive home through the rain. Past the country club where Marta's membership was revoked. Past the hotel where she and Jake used to meet. Past the advertising agency where they both used to work. All the places that used to define my wife's life are closed to her now. At home, I pour myself one final glass of champagne and sit in my leather recliner. The house is quiet and peaceful, free from the tension and deception that poisoned it for months. Tomorrow, I'll start my new life as a single man. I'll redecorate the house, maybe travel, definitely focus on my relationship with my children. But tonight, I'm going to sit here and enjoy the silence. My phone rings. It's Marta. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rings again and again. Finally, I answer. "What do you want, Marta?" "I want to come home," she says through tears. "I want to fix this. I want us to be a family again. There is no us anymore. You made sure of that. I made a mistake. You made dozens of mistakes for months. You chose Jake over me, over our family, over your career. You chose lies over truth, deception over honesty. You chose to humiliate me and betray our marriage. Those weren't mistakes, Marta. Those were choices. I choose you now. I choose our marriage. Too late. You had 20 years to choose our marriage. You chose Jake instead. He left me." She whispers. "After tonight, after the scene at the hotel, he said he couldn't handle the pressure anymore. He said being with me wasn't worth losing everything. So, you want me back because your first choice abandoned you?" "No, I want you back because I love you." "You don't love me, Marta. You love the security I represent. You love the house, the lifestyle, the social standing, but you don't love me. That's not true. If you loved me, you wouldn't have cheated. If you loved me, you wouldn't have lied. If you loved me, you would have come to me when you were unhappy instead of running to someone else." I can hear her crying, but it doesn't move me anymore. I'm filing for divorce on Monday, I continue. You can keep whatever personal items you want, but everything else stays with me. The house, the cars, the investments. You chose to throw away our marriage, so you get to live with the consequences. Ethan, please. Goodbye, Marta. I hang up and turn off the phone. Outside, the storm is getting stronger with lightning illuminating the sky and thunder shaking the windows. But inside my house, everything is calm. I raise my champagne glass in a toast to the empty room. Here's to real men, I say aloud. And to the women who don't deserve them. I finish the champagne and head upstairs to bed. Tomorrow is the first day of my new life, and I'm ready for it. Behind me, lightning flashes through the windows, illuminating the empty champagne bottle and the silence that used to be filled with lies. The storm outside is ending, but the one I created for Marta and Jake is just beginning. They'll spend years trying to rebuild their reputations, find new jobs, and restore their social standing. They'll always be known as the cheaters who destroyed their careers for a sordid affair. As for me, I'll be known as the man who fought back. The man who refused to be a victim. The man who turned the tables on his unfaithful wife and her lover and won. I turn off the lights and head to bed, leaving the empty champagne glass on the table like a monument to the marriage that died tonight. Outside, the thunder rolls away into the distance. And everything is quiet. 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 Aye.